All right, welcome once again to Game On, your one-stop shop for everything Premier League. It's that show that friends come around, talk about the Premier League and the excitement that is in the Premier League. It's the business end of the season, and so many crazy results popping up here and there. Who would have thought that Arsenal will go to Stamford Bridge after going on a three-game losing streak? Will go to Stamford Bridge and get a result, not just a result, a resounding victory against Chelsea. And the race for top four is back on. My name is Joseph Faulkner. You can call me Kali. I'm welcoming you all to Game On. And I've got my friends here with me, starting from Eddie Okwa.
I'm doing well. I certainly feel better after last night. Welcome, everyone. It's a great day, to be talking about football. I'm so excited today. We've got a great show for you guys today. I cannot wait to go into all the things that we want to talk about. So I'm so excited. Thank you very much, Kali. Let's get this on. Game On. We're excited to bring this show to you.
All right. Also with us this on this episode, Festus Chukwu, Faze. We call him Faze. Festus, I'm sure you are buzzing right now.
Yes, I am. I'm so happy. In fact, I'm gushing with excitement. Eddie, Kali, it's good to be here once again. Hello, good people. Funny enough, a lot of people call it football out there in the world. Some call it football, some call it football, some call it football. Depends on where you are, in which climb you are. Over here, we call it soccer. And whatever you call it, it remains a round-letter game that gives joys to millions of people all over the world. You are on for a wonderful time, so you're welcome once again. Thank you.
Awesome. First of all, it's a beautiful thing to let everybody know we're reaching you from different parts of the world. As it is right now, I'm out here in the city of Lagos and Nigeria, the best city in the whole world. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. Eddie's out there in Reading.
I'm in the United Kingdom. Actually, today I'm in London, so I am in the city. Coming to you on this show. So I'm live from London today.
And Festus is out there in the United States of America, and we just love to talk sports. But then one thing we established on the first episode of this show, we're all Arsenal fans. We're majorly Arsenal fans, except when we have guests who are Arsenal fans. But the four key presenters on this show are Arsenal fans. So we're going to be starting from there. What a game that was. First of all, guys, did either of you see that result coming?
No, so that was shocking for me. I have to say it was a very shocking result. We've just been what you would call a slump. Arsenal has been in a slump for the last, you could say, 5 games, because, even the game against Aston Villa, it was a really hard-fought victory, and it wasn't, done with confidence. And immediately we went to Crystal Palace, we got spanked. We went to Brighton, felt unlucky, but I'm not sure we played well, to actually win that game. And then we went to Southampton, and that was completely, you could see the confidence was out of the team, and then you have Chelsea next up, with a run of games that, could potentially decide, our future. And the lads showed something that the last time I saw them do this was when we played Chelsea. Remember, that first, game where Saka and Smith Rowe, it was like their coming out party. It almost seems like we needed Chelsea to kind of get them back into the swing of things. So that was an absolutely incredible performance. Did not expect that at all.
Absolutely, didn't expect that. But Festus, when you saw the lineup yesterday, what was the first thing that came to your mind? You saw Tavares is back at left back, and then at left wing back we had Holding, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Ben White there at the back. We're going to a 3-5-2 against a Chelsea side that have been scoring for fun in recent weeks. They put 6 past Southampton. They won their semi-finals in the FA Cup. They looked pretty good. Even in their loss against Real Madrid in the Champions League, the second leg, they looked a better side than the side that crumbled the first leg of that. When you saw the lineup, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
First of all, I thought Ateta was mad. I in fact I wrote off Arsenal in that match. I'm truthfully saying what I felt. When I saw that lineup, I said, "Oh, okay, this is." In fact, I was scared for Arsenal because I was expecting a thrashing, and but when I also saw Chelsea's lineup, I don't know if you see Chelsea's back line, the Christensen, the when I saw Chelsea's lineup, I had a pause and I pondered what is this dude trying to do. Yeah, I was wondering what was happening because at that point in time, I think he has underrated Arsenal really, and I think that's what really happened in that match. He underrated Arsenal. He wanted to rest some of his key players. He felt it was a match he can easily won without really stressing or stretching his guys. Maybe because of the back-to-back Madrid match, the FA Cup, a lot of them needed to rest, and he felt with Arsenal's recent form and 3 consecutive losses, it likely will be an easy match, and that way I think he underestimated. He didn't expect the boys to come out fighting, to come out swinging, and the use actually changed the course of that game. And we saw a tired Saka played one of the best games of in recent time. We saw a whole lot of them. The youth, Eddie that has been off for a very long time. Eddie, your namesake, has been misfiring. We saw him actually.
Always believe in
the 2 goals he scored. The 2 goals he scored. You could see the fighting spirit in those 2 goals. You could see the hustle. You could see the effort. So it was totally unexpected. But I'm so glad for that result. It made my day.
So one of the things I've had a problem with all season is I don't believe in the backups. I believe the first 11, we have a fantastic first 11 that can stand toe-to-toe with anybody, in the league. Even City, we saw the way they fought against Manchester City and narrowly losing to them, even against Liverpool as well, before eventually crumbling. But every time the backups come into play, I'm always worried. And so when I saw the lineup yesterday, and I don't think the Arsenal haven't really played well for a while. I think what has happened is we huff and puff and create all the chances in the world and don't put the ball in the back of the net. Our strikers all of a sudden went on holiday. The 3 games we lost on the bounce, our strikers couldn't. We created chance against Brighton. We created over 60 chances. Against Southampton, we created 72 goal scoring chances, and we could not score one. And so the scoring was the problem. For me, nothing changed about the way we played at the back and in the midfield. We keep creating the chances. Lokonga or El Neni or whatever, the same way we play. But one of the things that changed yesterday was Nketiah scored. Eddie scored. Saka got back to scoring ways. Smith Rowe got back to scoring ways. And it's one of the things I think Arteta must solve going into the next season. We need to sort out our bench. If we've got players like Pepe on the bench and can't perform, I'm of the opinion, I don't know what you guys think, he should be gotten rid of, regardless of how much you pay for him.
Yeah, so I mean, you make a very good point there. I think that we were creating chances, and I want to put that down to confidence, because when you look at that Smith Rowe's goal, the way that he took that goal one time, he knew exactly what he was going to do. That is a player. That's the Smith Rowe that I was getting used to. And for the last couple of games, he wasn't like that Smith Rowe.
But I think he was doing that. In Brighton, they recorded more blocks than they've done this season against Arsenal. We had chances to shoot at goal, but somehow they put bodies on the line. Against Southampton, Foster made some amazing saves. So we were doing this, but somehow I think when they say the rub of the green.
Yeah, but Kali, I don't want to stretch it, but I will differ a bit. In the last 3 matches, we've seen what we've done in the 5-6 matches before the last 3 matches.
Before the Liverpool game.
We were not really at our best. Even the Liverpool game, we were not bad. We actually matched Liverpool to an extent. We just met a superior side. The match against Crystal Palace, we were woeful. When I mean woeful, they bossed us in every ramification of that match. They won all the 50-50 duels. They won us in the midfield. Every department
Crystal Palace was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. So
Crystal
we
Palace was
didn't
bad,
play well. No,
but
no,
against
even
Southampton,
even
we dominated
against
possession.
Southampton was the last. That's we've started coming out from the curve.
Brighton,
Against
we dominated
Brighton,
possession.
no, against Brighton we did it. If you look at the overall of that match, Brighton had the better. Brighton was better on the day by edge.
No,
Yes,
Brighton had two chances on, two shots on target and they scored.
no, but Brighton also controlled most of those games. They
No,
dominated, went to
but
defend, went to attack. So
sorry. If you're talking statistics, Arsenal's statistics against Brighton was better, way better.
Yeah, and
If you're
I
talking
think
statistics,
I think it's the eye check. Is the eye check for me when we were watching those last three games. You didn't
mhm,
see the same sort of swagger that Arsenal had. You know, it
right.
was almost
sorry.
as
So
if
let's explain the swagger. That's the one
yeah,
I want to understand. Let's remove the goals we scored
yes.
yesterday. How we played. How is it different from the game
So
against Brighton and the game
okay,
against Southampton?
there was a lot going in the forward direction for me in that game
Yeah,
against Chelsea. You know,
yeah.
against Southampton, against Brighton, it was almost as if we were trying to make the perfect combination. You know, there were one too many passes, going in the sideways direction. It wasn't a lot going forward. The only person that was trying to go forward in those games was Saka, but he was always like double team, triple team. So he always came back to the middle. And then they knew very well that our middle hadn't really clicked. So every time we got into the middle, it was very difficult for us to go forward. We're going backwards. So for me, that's the swagger that is missing. And these kids, when they have their swagger, when they are doing their passes, everyone is moving, passing the ball. I think they can match anybody. But when they break that flow,
Anybody who doesn't get physical with them,
Yeah,
anybody who
exactly.
doesn't get physical, and probably anybody that is not
because that
Liverpool
was what Crystal
fanatic.
Palace did. That
Exactly.
was
For
what
me,
Crystal
for me,
Palace
for
did.
me, for me, Kali, apart from the swagger, what was missing for me was the confidence. In recent times, we've seen a resurgent Arsenal with lots of confidence. They do a lot with the ball. You see the combination Odegaard, Saka, and even Martinelli. If you notice, Martinelli has been off for like 3 matches, which I think is also playing into how we've been performing. Martinelli takes on, even against Liverpool. What was this? Their right back, I can't remember his name.
Trent.
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Trent had it rough on that day. Martinelli took him on almost on every point in time. But we saw this. He was dribbling himself. He was off the ball. Saka was tired. We could see generally the team. Something was off. So
Could that
Okay,
could
so
that have
did
been
you
could
guys
that have been could that have been the fact that they knew that there was nobody going to put the ball in the net? I think that probably played a part in the way that we played.
did you guys notice how Brighton set up their defense and Southampton set up their defense? So Brighton did the same thing against Spurs, quick counter, and they got the goal that led to the victory for them. Against Manchester City, of course, the quality was always going to separate them. They defend in blocks, and Arsenal don't have clinical forwards who, in central areas, can get the job done.
Mm.
so
Because
who do
you talk
you
about swagger, you talk about all those passing moves, and Arsenal have not stopped doing that even when we were bad, except against Crystal Palace where they were kicked off the park.
Yeah.
So and that's why Arsenal against Southampton created 72 goal scoring chances because they moved the ball properly. But when they get to the final third, somehow they
We
are
met
blocked
we met
or
an
Foster.
inspired picture
Yeah.
keeper.
And I think Arsenal going into the summer, Arsenal must just buy a clinical forward.
we
But
just
now
need to?
moving away from the performance itself, and I think one of the reasons it looked like they had so much joy against Chelsea is because Chelsea didn't sit back to defend against Arsenal. I think Chelsea looked at Arsenal as a team they can take on.
Yeah.
And so the spaces were there for Arsenal to exploit. Unlike a Southampton that knows if we open up, they'll punish
They'll
us.
kill us. Yeah.
Brighton knows if we open up, they'll punish us. And they set up block defending, But let's look beyond the game itself.
Okay.
Does this truly, considering the teams or the kind of games Arsenal have going to the end of the season, does this truly bring Arsenal back into the talk or the conversation, the top four conversation?
What I would say is that I think the games that we've got lined up, I would have been worried if we were going to be playing maybe Newcastle next, or if we hadn't played Crystal Palace was the game we were going to play, or one of these teams, because I think the big games is really what we need right now. So Man United is the perfect opponent for us after that, and then followed by West Ham, because these are teams that are not going to sit back, and teams that
And
are
defend.
and defend. So that means that we can now find a bit of form, and play the way that we want to play. So I feel like these three games is going to help define where we would go.
You talked about not
Okay.
wanting to play, Newcastle. Festus, we're playing Newcastle, we're playing West Ham, we're
Yes, we
playing
are.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes,
You
we
know,
are.
do you think, Festus, we're back in that top four conversation?
Um,
Realistically, looking at what we're going to face going into the end of the season.
Realistically, I think we are. I'm not being. I know everybody will say, of course, that's what he says, and that's not fun. But I'm looking at the games remaining. Now, let's look at the games. We have Man U, West Ham, Leicester, Tottenham, Newcastle, Everton. Spurs has Brentford, Leicester.
We have Man U, West Ham,
Well,
Leeds, not Leicester.
And Leeds.
Leeds.
yeah, Leeds. I said Man U, West Ham, Leeds, Tottenham, Newcastle, and Everton. Sorry. And Spurs has Brentford, Leicester, Liverpool, Arsenal, Burnley, and Norwich. Now, compare both teams. Brentford will always be a banana peel for anybody. They are in top form. And if you look at Liverpool, of course, that's a match they may likely lose based on Liverpool form. Leicester is neither here nor here. You don't know what Leicester. You don't know the Leicester that comes on the day, and Brentford. So you can see potentially them losing like 3 matches from that 6. Now, come to us. I expect us to win Man U at home. I expect us to win Man U. And right on the form,
because we beat Chelsea.
we can write on the form of Chelsea victory. We should be able to win Man U. Now,
I will only say something with Man U.
Okay.
Let me just add with Man U. If
Yeah.
Ronaldo plays, it might be a
Yeah.
different Man U.
Ronaldo has never had joy with us now.
No,
Check statistically.
I'm not even
In
bothered
Man
about
U, he
Ronaldo.
has not.
But
I'm
he
not
was the
bothered about
difference.
Ronaldo.
He was the difference in that first game when we played
When
at
we
Old
first
Trafford.
played, the team was poor.
Yeah,
Our
that's
performance
what still
we didn't.
jelly.
So one of the things we enjoy doing right now, moving the ball around in the midfield, we couldn't do it against United.
Okay, let's even leave the Ronaldo factor, because the truth is Ronaldo may not really make that difference the way you're looking at. He will play. I don't see him not playing. He's a professional. I know he lost his kid and stuff, but I think he knows what is at stake. This is the running, so definitely he will come back to help the team. So let's even expect he will play. But I expect also Lacazette to be back, and I think Tomiyasu is almost fit now.
I don't think Lacazette is going to play.
I don't think with the way Nketiah has played, I don't see Lacazette coming into that side.
We can't rule out experience in this kind of matches. I think Nketiah should still come from the bench, and Lacazette.
Never.
Nketiah is going to start. Nketiah is going to start. There's no question about
let's. I don't know what Arteta will play, but for me, I expect us to.
If you look at, sorry, you'll continue first. If you look at the way Arteta has performed since he took over, you are performing, you get in the side. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You are performing, you are playing. You know, he doesn't care.
And I like that. It makes those boys, hungry. You know that you have a chance of playing if you do well.
Yeah,
I like that. So for me, in our 6 matches, at least we also may likely see a potential. The match against Tottenham, I think I'm looking at that match. Likely, it's going to be the decider who takes it there at the end of the day, because we all have teams that could actually give us tough time between both of us. So Arsenal is in a top 4 race. Clearly, without win against, if they've lost to Chelsea, I think should have been over. But without win, they are in that discussion, and that match in Tottenham may likely be the decider. I think that will likely be the decider.
Eddie, apart from Tottenham Hotspur, the game at the new White Hart Lane, which other game would you look at and say might potentially be a problem for Arsenal?
Listen, I'm worried about Everton. That game against Everton, because
they're fighting for their lives.
They're fighting for their lives. And it really depends on what happens in the next couple of games for those teams. Because they're the kind of team. They gave us problems. Remember, we went to Everton,
They beat us even when we played well.
they beat us.
They
They
beat us
absolutely,
even when we played well.
they absolutely
I
beat
don't
us.
see Everton being a problem for us. Last day
Ah.
at Emirates, no, it's not.
Listen.
Sorry.
Let's just say that you don't want to go into that game needing a
With
result.
them needing that game.
Exactly. If they need
With them
that
needing
game
that game.
and we need that game for a result, I don't want to be going to that game like that.
If
I
that
want
game,
Except by some miracle, Partey is back.
if that game decides our top four and that game decides the relegation, I'll put my money on Arsenal. Not because I'm a fan, but because I know us at home, in the Emirates, I even if it's half O, I put my money on Arsenal to take it.
so
Because
what about the Newcastle game? A lot of the Newcastle players are playing for their lives right now. They are playing for their lives. They know there is money to be spent in the summer, and so many of them might not be in that team anymore. You see, all of a sudden, Almiron is coming back into the side, he's showing himself, showing he can play. Look at the way he performed in the last game. He even got a good goal. Alan St. Maximin is doing very well. Jojo Shelby is there. A whole lot of these guys, and they can be very aggressive. And aggression is something Arsenal have not done well against. That is one of the fears I have for the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
Kylie, sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry. I just want to remind you on something. For me, I basically think the major problem we may likely have will be West Ham away.
That's another one.
West Ham away.
You know why I'm not worried about West Ham? I think West Ham will be distracted by their semi-final in the Europa League because we played them.
I'm hoping that's the case.
We play them after they come back from their semi-final. Okay. So depending on how that game goes, I think that might work for our favor because West Ham down.
Why I'm scared of West Ham? They have the players to bully us, just like what Crystal Palace. They have the players to really, really bully us, and everybody has learned from Crystal Palace what Vieira did. They've seen that that works, and everybody, if you notice, that's exactly what Brighton. Even when they don't have the players, they all went physical with us. So likely West Ham will want to adopt that same pattern. They have the players.
They might not play the players. They might not play.
So we all agree Arsenal are back in this conversation for top four finish. We wait to see what happens in the upcoming games. They go up against Manchester United next. But before then, let's talk about Everton. What exactly is going on with Everton? No matter what they do, it looks like they can't seem to get a result. And I'm sure the owners are there. They've spent a lot of money bringing in people on characteristic errors from the club side, from the teams on the field. You see Richarlison missing goal scoring chances, easy goal scoring chances. The midfield can't play. But then one ray of hope for them, Dele Alli came on and totally changed the midfield against Leicester City, and they were able to fight back and get a point in that game. But Everton, what exactly are they doing wrong at Everton?
I think it's a combination of so many things. When a team like Everton has had so much disruption, they started with one manager, then they swung to another, and then you can almost see that, I feel for Frank because Frank has gone in there and he's trying to build a system in place, but it's difficult to build a system when there's chaos. So it feels like right now that club, is very, very chaotic. Some of the players that are there, they don't know whether they really should be there. And Frank doesn't know what his best 11 is. And that's because the performances on the pitch doesn't help him to decide what that is. So I think it's a combination. They cannot wait for the season to end. They just literally want the season to be over, reset, reboot, and let's start again. Because you're right, it doesn't seem like they're getting the rub of the green on anything. If it's not red cards, it's missed chances. If it's not that, it's last minute goals. Well, it's funny because they scored a last minute goal in their last game, but it has been the other way for them. So I feel like Everton just needs to hold on whatever way to this season because they've got some good players. Richarlison is not a bad player overnight, right? And you can see that in their back line, they've actually really suffered. They've got aging back line. Coleman is not, Sheamus is not the same player that he was, so he cannot give them, 90 minutes game in, game out. And then you've got the other guy who's a little bit young, and is still building his confidence. So I think it's a mix of, we don't know what our best players are, but also it's been so chaotic that things need to settle down for Everton.
I totally agree with you. But then, Festus, you're paying so much money, you've invested so much money in the club side. You've talked about chaos in the club, Eddie, and how Lampard is going to find it difficult building anything out of chaos in the place. But Lampard, approved of some of the players that were brought in January. Some of them can't seem to make the team, apart from Van de Beek, who is injured now. Dele Alli can't seem to start. He was brought in with his experience of playing for a top club, come in there and be the guy in the middle in the absence of now that James has left the club side. They brought Dele Alli to be that replacement, that guy who can drive from the middle, spray passes and all that, but he's not doing all of that. You approved of these purchases and they are not working. I think Lampard should own up to his mistakes, his error in judgment as well.
For me, Kali, I won't really blame Lampard totally. I understand that he approved some of those players, but when a club is going through this kind of crisis, it's as if it happens, every facet of that club, every body game, outfield issues, and everything starts coming in. You see the disorganization, you see the low confidence issues, everything happens. So they are just going through a phase, they are going through that problem, but I think they will survive with 29 points, currently, which is like 4 points, I think, ahead of Burnley, and I think they are in the same matches played.
Yeah.
They will, with that 4 points, and with what I saw about Burnley, the matches left for Burnley, they are playing Wolves, Southampton, Aston Villa, Spurs, and the whole Newcastle, and also. So I actually see Burnley losing a whole lot of. Out of the 7 matches remaining, they may likely lose close to 5 games.
Everton have a tough run, though. They play Merseyside derby this weekend.
Yes.
And that is going to be a very tough game for them. I just, and to think that immediately after that, they followed out with a game against Chelsea. So, those two games, you're looking at it and thinking,
how do you survive that?
Exactly.
I know,
how do you survive?
Yeah, I understand. But for Everton, their toughest matches looks like Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea. The other ones are winnable, or they could
lost. Those are 3 losses already.
But Burnley has 7 matches. They may likely even lose all 7 or 6 out of it. From the matches they have, also they have Spurs, they have Newcastle, they have Aston Villa, they have Wolves, they have Southampton. So if you look at, I'm just comparing both of them now. You understand? From what I see in both of them, I think Everton will just make it, and they can now settle down during the summer. And Frank can now do what he needs to do. Either weed out some players, bring in people that could listen. I think indiscipline has a lot of problem. They have a lot of indiscipline actually affecting that team. He has to really look at players that will listen to him.
When you say discipline, what do you mean?
Indiscipline in the way they get the red cards, the way it comes in, the way they concede last minute goals.
They've not really
the way they play
of...
to instruction, the way he wants to play. You see at times they don't play according to instruction. That comes down to indiscipline, because just like I said, okay.
It's always easy to say players aren't playing to instructions. And I asked the question, what do you think Lampard's instructions are that the players are not carrying out?
Lampard is not a bad coach. From the little I've seen Lampard in the other teams he has, even in Chelsea, it's just that Chelsea is a bit bigger than him. You could see Lampard like free-flowing football. And see, Lampard is not a bad coach. I know the style is trying to play, but clearly you see that Everton team, I don't know. Really, I can't place my hand what is really wrong with them.
So if I look at that Everton team, right, and I look at the players that Frank has in the disposal, you could argue that Yeremina is one of their better defenders, right? He's been injured, for a while. And you have Godfrey, standing in, a young player, that doesn't really seem to have that kind of confidence. Now you look at
But
up
Godfrey has
front.
been playing for a while. Godfrey is not even new to the
Yeah,
Premiership.
yeah, Godfrey has been playing for a while, but
Hmm?
you've never been in this
But
kind of
still a youngster.
situation. He's still a youngster.
Yeah, he's
No
still a
question about that.
youngster.
He's still a youngster. And if you look at the game that they played, that they scored the first goal and ended up, losing that game. I can't remember what team was that, where he made that mistake, to create the goal.
Mhm.
Those things, you need people that are more experienced to help you out. So you've got that. You now start looking at their midfield, right? And you're looking at the midfield and thinking, right, what are the players that are there, right? You've gone Van der Beek that they've brought injured. Deli Ali doesn't seem to be getting a start. Iwobi's in and out,
He
of
can't
the
get
team.
he can't get in the side.
He can't get consistently. You look at the front, they have Cenk, who knows where he is right now. They're relying on Solomon Rondon every now and then to come in and try and score goals. So you look at the players that he's working with. There's not a lot of quality there in order for them. So they have to. That's why I said that they have to just find a way to carry themselves over the line this season, and
Which they
then do
will. I
and
think
then
so.
do a
Lampard
reset.
needs to find the right mix.
Yes.
He needs to find the right mix. In other words, so but Festus made it clear. He made it clear that Lampard is a good coach. Lampard is not a bad coach, which means he agrees that Lampard is probably the right man to get them out of this funk. But Eddie, do you think Lampard is the right man for the job at Everton?
I think I do believe that with the right level of support and structure, Lampard would do well. Um, I think that every coach, just like if you look at Vieira, if you look at Ateta, all these young coaches that are coming up, you cannot put them in the same pedestal in terms of structure and control like you would do a Pep, a
Yeah.
club, because these are experienced managers, a Conte, or Tuchel, because they can come in there and they can know what structure that they need in order to succeed. They need to have people that help them create that structure so that all that they are focusing is coaching on the pitch, and the performance of the players. And I think that's where, you know, Everton, if they get that structure in place to support Lampard, I think he will do well. Because I think as a coach, you can see the way he's played tactically that he at least he knows what he's doing. I think he just needs the resources. And one thing that might help Everton, you know, this season is the sacking of Sean Dyche, because I think that Burnley
Hmm?
should not have pulled that trigger, because I know what they were expecting. They're expecting that to make a jolt into the system, make them feel like, they can now go out and perform. But actually, what that actually does, for a side like Burnley that have only known Sean Dash, the last time a team did this was Charlton. Remember when Charlton had Alan and Cobishley, as their
Obviously,
manager,
yeah.
and he was their manager for a very long time. They got into the Premiership, and then they started having relegation battles. They panicked, they sacked him, and
Fired him.
then they've never showed up anywhere near the Premiership anymore. And sometimes when you have a manager that has been there for a long time, created pretty much the system, the staff, and everything, it's difficult to replace them with just 7, 6 games to go. So that's another thing that might help
True.
Everton,
True.
to get
And I
over
feel
the
that's
line.
the problem. I feel that's the problem. One of the biggest problems Everton are having. I feel whatever it is, the difference between them and Rafael Benitez, they should have found a way to sort it out and let him stay on, because they've not been stable since Rafael Benitez left that side. One of the things about Rafael Benitez is he might not get you all excited with his style of football and all of that, but he's a proven winner. Then he knows how to
He's an
manage.
effective coach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an effective coach. He knows how to manage his players.
Exactly.
But guys, the battle at the top of the table, Manchester City, Liverpool, very. See those ones. They are playing their own league.
Yes, yes.
They
they,
are
are, they,
playing
are,
their own
they
league.
are playing their own
Liverpool,
league, yes.
You know, officially, we
Liverpool
now
is
have
that.
top two. Kali, officially, nobody should be saying top six,
Exactly.
top four. We have top two in England.
There's
Top
even
two.
top three. There's nothing like top.
No,
There's
there's
nothing
not
like
top
top
three. We
three.
have top two in England. What we have is top two. Simple. Stop it
But,
there.
but but the
Any other people
battle,
that joins, whatever, but it's just top two.
but the battle between these two guys, nobody's gonna let off. Liverpool, the best side so far in the Premier League this season, this year, since the turn of the year, they've had 35 points. That's more than any other club side in the Premier League. This since January till now, and it's one of the reasons they were able to close down that gap that was between them and City for a long time. Brighton tried to do their thing against City, block everywhere, put up the block defending and all of that. But the
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 quality.
experience and the quality in City eventually paid off. So it has become a matter of who blinks first. And
Yeah, I think we lost Kali.
I think we lost.
we're not going to talk too much about
Okay.
this. Who do you guys think will blink first?
So for me, I feel like Man City have something. There's just this edge and know-how about winning very, very close titles. I go back to, the title winning season that Liverpool lost by 1 point. And it was a little bit like this. It was neck and neck, neck and neck, and everybody thought Man City were going to blink. And, I think Pep has this way of keeping compartmentalizing what Man City does to only what Man City does, so that the players, whether they don't allow them to listen to the news or they don't allow them to listen to anything, but I feel like they know how to stay in games so that they can eventually win. Now, if you look at the games that Man City, have got next, to play, that begins to give you like an indication of, okay, do you think that Man City is actually going to, slip up? They play Watford. I know they're still in the Champions League, and you've got that Madrid game, somewhere in between them. But then they play Leeds, right? Then they play Newcastle. These are games that you're thinking, Man City, their firepower, they should win. They play Newcastle, they play Aston Villa. I cannot see them, dropping points. And even Newcastle, they play Newcastle at home. So it's not like they're going to St. James Park, to play Newcastle. So when you look at the remaining fixtures, you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't see how, Man City cannot take all 3 points in all those games. So that's why I feel like Man City will keep the status quo. Don't do anything too drastic and just keep, focusing on we get 3 points in every game. So Man City for me is where I see this title going at this stage.
Festus,
Yeah, I totally
why are
agree.
you smiling? Why are you smiling?
I totally agree with Eddie. Man City clearly have the edge in this, especially when you look at the running games, just like you mentioned. When I see the Tottenham, the Everton, the best, I know they will always win the Merseyside derby, the Wolves, the Newcastle. You could see Newcastle is featuring in almost all the discussions we've had, and even the Southampton. Aston Villa also could be a banana peel. I see Liverpool at least getting dropping points in one of these 6 matches. I see them, and when you look at the Man City games of same Newcastle, Villa, Watford, Wolves, Leeds, West Ham, I think City will edge it. Even if City draw, I see Liverpool actually at least 2 draws in these matches. Yeah, Liverpool has been the most consistent team this year. With the kind of incredible matches they've won and the number of goals they've scored, well over 83 goals, in so far. That's about 3 goals per match, man. That's 83
That's
goals.
crazy.
That's roughly 3 goals per match. So
And the funny thing is, like, Liverpool have this tap that they can turn on when they want. So it's like, okay, everyone is thinking, Salah is not on form. Next thing,
Yes,
He
take
scores a
over.
couple of goals. He said, where's Firmino? I've not seen him. He's not starting games. He comes on, pops in a couple of goals.
Yeah,
And then you're like, Jota, okay, he shouldn't be scoring this many goals, but the guy keeps scoring. You're thinking,
mhm,
okay, he's going to stop scoring soon because surely he's not that world class.
yeah.
How will he be scoring all these goals? And he still keeps on scoring. And
Yes,
then you
come
and then you
then.
look at the performances of people like Thiago. You look at the performances of Fabinho. Henderson is surprising me
Yeah,
because I'm
it's
thinking to
same here,
myself, surely how can he still be getting into the Liverpool team, but he's still getting into the team
and he plays well.
and plays well. So when you look at that and you're thinking, how has this manager on been able to unlock, it's like all the players are playing at their peak
Mhm.
performance, their peak potential. How do you do that as a manager? Because sometimes you look at a team and you're like, okay, you've got 5, 6 main players. But to look at a team like Liverpool and you can't really single out and say, this is the weak link in Liverpool, that has to be saying something.
Let's have the weekend review, Eddie. Let me run some stats to you so that you can take it up from there. Um, Both of them, they've met 236 times. That's a lot. They've
That's a
met
lot.
236 times, and Man U has won 98 times, and Arsenal has actually won 85 times, and they've drawn 53 times. We all know it used to be a great rivalry. We can point out to so many talking points in terms of what's contributed to this rivalry. If you remember the 2003 2004 brawl, I remember also the 2004 2005, the unbeaten run and the tunnel fracas that happened. You remember so many times Fergie and Wenger, the touchline, and the fans, the deployment of security, and there's how when they are meeting, how each city, if it's in London or in Manchester, the city shuts down, everybody's at edge, you don't know what will happen, you don't know the violence that may erupt. That tells you how great this rivalry was before. But unfortunately, it has gone. Both teams no longer command this level of excitement. Um, what do you think will happen? We've discussed about both teams, so I don't want us to waste much time here, but what do you think will happen at the end of the week?
So it's the first game of the Premier League this weekend, and it's a 12:30 kickoff. And actually, coincidentally, I was supposed to be at that game. I had my tickets,
Oh,
ready
really?
to go and watch Arsenal Man United.
So what
Um,
happened? You're not going?
no, I can't go anymore. Some other things came up.
Okay.
Um, I have to say that I expect Arsenal to perform in that game, but I also expect Man United to step up. They always have a way of stepping up against Arsenal,
Hmm.
and they would play their best. Now everything is going to depend on selection.
Mhm.
Who makes it on the pitch. Would Arteta revert back to his typical lineup, or will he stick with what has just worked against Chelsea? For Man United, will Phil Jones continue to play? Because he seemed like he was huffing and puffing in that game against Liverpool, and he needed an oxygen mask to help him get through the rest of the game. So is he going to play him? You
Oh,
know,
God.
um, Rashford started up front. Will Ronaldo come back and Rashford go back on the bench? So these are the things that would, when you see the lineup, it might give an indication whether United are going there to try and get a draw, because to take 4 points out of Arsenal in a season is a great return for them because they beat Arsenal at Old Trafford. So would
Mhm.
they go to, and I think that Man United will probably be going to that game thinking, right, let's keep it solid. If we come out with a draw, right, we've done very well, which would mean that, they then go into the Chelsea game, not feeling too low on confidence. So I expect it to be a tough game. I would want to say that Arsenal would win the game, but I just have this sneaky feeling about a draw.
I expect Arsenal to win, irrespective of who, at the end of the day, is lined up. I just expect Arsenal to get that result because they know the importance of that result. Now, I want us to discuss the Brentford Tottenham match. We all know Tottenham also is going for top four, but also, like I explained before, Brentford has been in top form, 6 wins out of 7 matches, and they've not lost in the last 2 home matches. So, and Tottenham, like we know, also 4 wins in the last 6 matches, although the last match was an unexpected loss to Brighton, which nobody expected that. But they've won 4 straight away games, and they've recorded a total of 14 goals with just 2 against. What do you expect from that match?
So this is the match that even before we even got into this last run of games, that I had always penciled down as a game that Tottenham would lose. So just because of the way that Brentford plays, Brentford are the closest team in terms of their style of play as Tottenham. They have Tony that does a similar type of thing that Kane does. Drops deep, runs to the channel, gets the ball, and then you have Mbome, who's the one who's almost like the focus of the most of the attacks.
Mhm.
And with what I've seen about Christian Eriksen in the middle of that pack, in the last couple of games, I just look at it and say to myself, Brentford at home against a Spurs team, I actually pick Brentford, to actually win that game. I think that they have a slight edge in terms of the personalities that are there. Now, of course, Kane can always be Kane, can go in on the pitch and scores a hat trick. You always know that can happen. But I look at this game, I had penciled this game a while ago that Brentford might be the team that helps Arsenal get into the top four by beating Spurs in this game.
Okay, Kali, we are talking about the Brentford Tottenham match, and we're talking about the fact that both of them are in top form. Tottenham has not lost the last 2 away matches. Brentford has won 6 of their 7 matches, and they've not lost at home, I think, in the last 2 matches. So if you look at all their current forms, it points towards an interesting match. So quickly, what do you think will happen?
So Brentford, they are not in any way anywhere near the level Tottenham Hotspur are playing. Forget the fact that Tottenham Hotspur lost their last game. One of the things that will be key for both sides in this game is the fact that Tottenham are fighting for something. They are there in the battle for top four, and they know they can't afford any more slip-ups, especially after their last result. They can't afford any more slip-ups. So they're going to throw everything, and I mean everything, at Brentford. Brentford, they are a tricky customer. You talked about the form they are in at the moment, and you ask yourself, okay, who have they played, coming into this game? Have they played anybody in the class of Tottenham Hotspur? And I think it's no. It's a no-no. So I think Tottenham Hotspur will just find a lot of joy in this side. Harry Kane and Son, what happened to them in the last game was a blip. I think they're going to come back. I think they're going to come back to get back to winning way this weekend against Brentford.
So you think that you think Spurs are going to beat Brentford at home?
I think they're not going to lose that game. They're not going to lose that game
because Brentford has a chance of getting into the top 10 because they win their game. That would take them to 8th or 9th position, depending on how.
The last time Brentford beat Tottenham Hotspur was in 1984.
That's a long time.
no matter how good Brentford is playing, the last time they beat Tottenham, and they've played between that time, they've played about 11 games since then, and they've lost 9 times since then to Tottenham Hotspur, regardless of where the game is being played. And that's something that's going to be key.
So Brentford fans, you've heard it here. They said you cannot beat
Spurs. Bekali, Brentford beats West Ham 2-0.
That's West Ham. It's West Ham, not Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay.
Tottenham are a class above Brentford. See,
no doubt.
Every good thing that Brentford have done,
of course, we all agree. But we also know
for every good thing they've done this season, They are not in the same class, even though they beat Arsenal at the start of the season. They are not in this class, of teams that Tottenham Hotspur belong in. Even West Ham, I still feel they are beating above their weight. David Moyes has steadied that ship and made them look solid in parts, but you can still see a lot of frailties in that West Ham side. When they are not getting physical, their top scorer isn't scoring anymore. A lot is happening to the West Ham side that you can't totally bring them into the same conversation. Yes, they're also fighting for top four, but the truth is the top four battle is between Arsenal, United, and Tottenham Hotspur, not really West Ham. West Ham are at the most are going to probably qualify for the Conference League, European Conference League. So Brentford, on their part, their newcomers got everybody talking, an exciting side. They've got a lot of young players, a lot of hungry players in that side. But when the chips are really, really down, every time that has happened to them this season, they've crumbled. So they've not beaten any team in the top five right now.
So do you think that the game against Chelsea, which they won 4-1, that
it's not going to happen again?
So that was a once in a lifetime result.
It's a once in a lifetime victory. It's a once in a lifetime performance.
No, but we can't see Kali. But we can't write Kali. Sorry, let me come in here. No, you keep saying once in a lifetime. When somebody beats Chelsea 4-1 away, beats West Ham, at least those are top 6, top 8, or top 7 in the Premiership. You can't say you can't give them a chance at all. As in, you can't write them off totally. That's what I'm trying to say.
So this is how I put out because a lot of times we look at one-off games, and we judge teams on one-off games, and I think it's a wrong way to judge teams. Right? Everybody talked about what Patrick Vieira has done at Crystal Palace and all of that, and I asked the question: where are they on the table? In the Premier League table, where are they? You look at Brentford, they're beating West Ham, they're beating Chelsea. Are they in the top 4? Are they higher than the teams? Brentford has beaten Arsenal. Brentford has beaten Arsenal this season, but Arsenal are fighting for top 4. So in the long run, the total package, the total look of things, they are not yet there to give you consistent performance against the top teams in the league, all through the season. Yes, it's the Premier League. You will see Fulham coming to the league next season and they are beating some teams in the top. Don't be shocked. Crystal Palace took 4 points off Manchester City this season. Manchester City are fighting for the title. Where's Crystal Palace? So a lot of times you will see all these results. It's the Premier League. That's one of the reasons why the Premier League is very beautiful. The team at the bottom of the table that is already condemned to go down will come up and beat the team that is first or second in the league. It doesn't put them in that category. It doesn't. So once in a while you see those kind of results, but it doesn't mean they are in that class. They can't give you that performance on a consistent level. That's why Crystal Palace will beat City at the Etihad, get a draw at Selhurst Park, and then they are losing to Burnley, losing to Southampton, losing to Brighton, and the rest of them, because it's the beauty of the Premier League. You will see those kind of performances every now and then, but it doesn't define the team as a whole.
Okay, because of time, let's move to the Chelsea.
You are going to cut this place up. Another thing you need to stop saying, don't be saying because of time. Let's just keep going.
Okay, so Eddie,
I will send a lot of things that people pointed out in our whatever. I'll put it on the group so that we'll look at them and all of us will.
No problem. We are learning, and like I always say, we always, you are the expert, so you guide us. No props.
I'm not the expert.
You are, in terms of this field, you are the expert. We are doing it for fun, so you do it for a living. Chelsea versus. Okay, let me rewind. Okay, let's move on to Chelsea versus West Ham. Chelsea, we could see them losing from the last game against Arsenal. Against Arsenal, Kali, you were saying something then, a lot of stats we are really not. I was surprised to see that Chelsea actually has 68% possession. And I didn't see that when I was watching that match, and I was shocked, that they actually had up to 68% possession of that match. Because from what I watched, I actually thought we had more. I thought we had more of those possessions.
Okay, so the first 50 minutes of the game, it was and all of that. But in the last 30 minutes of the game, Chelsea put Arsenal under a lot of pressure. I remember between the 60th and 70th minute, that 10-minute period, Arsenal had only 7% possession.
Yeah, I saw that
between
stat.
70 and 80 minutes, Arsenal had 6%. It was dropping. So when you now to add everything together, it now surpassed everything Arsenal did. Because when Arsenal burst the game, it was maybe 60 to 40, 55 to 45. But then when they totally were in control, they were in control. Because at that point, Arteta needed to, be pragmatic, make sure you don't consider, because look at the first two goals we scored. We considered within 5 minutes of those goals each time. And I remember when we scored the third goal, where I was watching the game, I was on air watching the game, and I kept saying, at least keep this one for 10 minutes. Keep this one for 10 minutes. And then when he hit the 10 minutes mark, okay, do more than 10 minutes. Because it looked like every time we scored, we considered.
Yeah.
So immediately we scored the third goal, Arteta became pragmatic. Started putting in players he brought Cedric Suarez onto the field, who actually had a great game coming in the second half of that game. So the way it works is the possession starts for the last 30 minutes of the game, wiped out every game Arsenal had in the first 60 minutes of the game.
Okay, so what do you think about their chances against West Ham? And they're playing
against West Ham? They're wounded lions. I don't think they want to underrate West Ham again the way they did Arsenal. Christensen is never going to get on that pitch against West Ham. At least Lukaku is not going to get a start in that one, definitely. Kai Havertz and Timo Werner have been the most informed strikers for them for a while. I didn't understand benching Kai Havertz for Lukaku in that game. I did not understand
Lukaku always plays well against Arsenal.
So maybe he was looking at the physical side, bossing. I think that's what he was.
I almost predicted that lineup. I almost predicted that Lukaku.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I thought Lukaku would score. I thought he would score, but he scores against Arsenal a lot.
Yeah, he plays well against Arsenal. Arsenal have this thing about allowing certain players. When certain players play well against them, they don't seem to be able to shake that, and most managers take advantage of that.
Most physical strikers play well against Arsenal.
So I think Chelsea went into that game, thinking to themselves, Arsenal are going to be a little bit vulnerable, from free kicks, corners and stuff like that. So they try to get as much height into the game. So, but I think what really backfired for them was the mistakes that were made by Christensen and Sars.
Okay, but Eddie, do you see that happening against West Ham? Do you see
Not
that?
At all. I expect the lineup, to go back to, being very strong. Potentially, Loftus Cheek probably drops out, for one of Kovacic, to get back into the team. Kai Havertz and Timo Werner be in the team. Perhaps, we might see Ziyech come into the team as well. I know they've got, challenges with Rudiger, and, you could argue that he was their most, consistent defender for a very long time. But I expect Christensen to be in the bench for quite a while. Maybe he needs to get some Kool-Aid and Lucozade to keep him company, because I don't see him getting on the pitch for a while. I expect Chelsea has shown that they can bounce back after a bad game.
Yeah. But they don't enjoy playing against West Ham a lot. In recent years, West Ham have found a way past Chelsea, every now and then. The last time West Ham actually won at Stamford Bridge was in 2019. But games between them have been it's a ding dong. A lot of times you can't call it. There's always one goal separating them. It's the last time they played at the London Stadium, it ended 3-2 in favor of West Ham. The last time the West Ham went to Stamford Bridge, it ended 1-0. So it's always that one odd goal against two of them, because for some reason Chelsea have the players, the quality and everything, but then West Ham have the men, the physicality, the intensity in their side to hurt Chelsea. So it's always been it. And then don't forget it's a London derby, you know. So a lot of what would you call it? A lot of pride is also at stake.
West London derby.
Sorry,
Eddie, is West Ham in West London?
Yeah. So actually,
I think it's the West London derby.
No, it's in East London. West Ham is in East
Oh,
London.
okay, cool.
So it's just
It's
a
East
London
London.
derby.
Okay.
And I think that plays a part. Two London teams going in. So you're right, Kali. I don't expect this to be a game that one team is going to dominate.
Okay, but mind you, guys, West Ham has not won away in the last 5 matches. They've been very poor traveling. So with that counts, because we also when we're looking at stats, also we look at the form of the team. Currently, West Ham has won, I think, just 2 matches, if I'm not mistaken, in their last 6 matches that they've just won 2, and they've not won any match away for the last 5 matches.
So I think you have to look at that in context. Where those games in between their Europa games, because we know very well that that's the focus of West Ham right now.
Yeah, Europa League
they are
is the
focusing
focus.
on Europa League, and I think that because there is no game, in the Europa League, next week, I'm thinking that West Ham will probably be a lot more focused on this game, considering that.
And to be fair, Eddie, the games they've lost, you talk about their last 5 games, in that time they've played Sevilla, they've played Liverpool, they've played Brentford, they've played Wales, they played Tottenham Hotspur as well. And this was sandwiched between their trips away from England. And so the managers had to rotate. Look at their last game in the Europa League, for instance, that's away to Lyon. And they comfortably trounced Lyon. And Lyon are not pushovers when you look at the scheme of things, But yeah, so you have to consider their travels and the way they've had to manage the squad, also going into
and they play at home in the Europa League semi-final against Frankfurt. So I expect that they will go into this game with the full complement of their players. I think it's going to be a tight one.
Okay, guys, let's look at Liverpool Everton. This is also a derby, and Liverpool actually has actually dominated this derby for a very long time,
and will continue to dominate.
Kali, do you see
Nothing is happening. Liverpool is winning. There's no stories here. Liverpool is winning this one. I don't think.
You think Lampard would?
I don't think Everton has anything in them to go up against Liverpool at this time. Liverpool are they've smelt blood and they're not going to let up. They have an opportunity to win the title, and this is one of those games that on paper it's easy for them, and they're not going to. They won't want to mess it up. Thiago Alcantara is playing some of the best football he's ever played since coming to England right now. Luis Diaz is in absolutely amazing form. Everybody talks about Jordan Anderson, but he's the enforcer in that midfield.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's about it on the preview part of the show. Today, hope you've enjoyed everything we've talked about. Yeah. Remember, nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows the results of it. If we all know the results, we won't even bother watching football at all. But guys, we're going to predict a few games. First of all, the derby in Liverpool. That's Liverpool up against Everton. Guys, let's call it. I'm starting with you, Festus.
5-0.
How now?
Bro, you see, you want to put your money. Everton, I'm telling you, it will be more than 5-0. Those guys are angry.
No, I'm gonna go with a 3-1 scoreline. I think Everton will score at least one.
Eddie, I'll call you when it starts raining.
I'm looking at a 4-0 victory for Liverpool.
So you're not even
Sadio Mane getting a brace. Luis Diaz getting one, Jota getting one. No goal for Salah in this one.
Man, I need to touch my with Kali's predictions.
And then Arsenal Man U, battle of, if you ever watch Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards. Arsenal Man U.
That was a great battle.
Your prediction, guys.
I'm going to go for a 3-2 win to Arsenal.
I will go for 2-1 for us now.
I think I'm seeing a 3-1 victory for Arsenal.
Okay.
At the Emirates, I don't think it's going to be easy for United. All right, Chelsea, West Ham, another London derby. Chelsea, West Ham. Festus, you first.
I see a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I was gonna go for a Desmond as well. Desmond Tutu. I was gonna go for.
Okay. I've thought about this match over and over again. I don't know. I don't know why I keep thinking Chelsea will make it. I don't know why I keep thinking Chelsea will make this one.
Okay.
And one final game, because of the top two race, we've done Liverpool Everton. So Manchester City, Watford, no brainer. Manchester City, Watford.
How are we? Is there an acceptable score line that is over 10? Because that game could be. I want to say 6-0 in that game because Watford are already down.
When was the last time City scored 6?
It's not been that far off. I think last season they scored 6.
Okay.
For me, you can't predict Pep. Pep is one crazy guy. I think what he wants to do, you see him rest. He takes a whole lot of risk. He will bring in all the Jesus and the other guys to just play. Yeah, he will bring in those guys. So we may not see that. And I think he should be gunning for the score line because Liverpool is actually besting him on that area, but I don't think he's interested. He just wants to win the remaining 6 matches.
Just wants to keep winning.
Yeah. So I see him like 4-0. That's likely what I see in that match. I don't think he will go more than that.
I think City will beat Watford 3-0. I think it will end 3-0. Like Festus pointed out, Pep Guardiola is focused on the Champions League and he's right now doing everything in his power, trying to keep his players fresh and all of that. So I think we'll probably just see a 3-0 victory, but at least it's going to be a victory for Watford in this one. So Liverpool to win, City to win, Arsenal to win, Chelsea to win. That's for me, and Watford to win.
What of Tottenham? What of Tottenham? You don't want to predict Tottenham? That's another top 4 guy.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen?
Tottenham will beat Brentford.
Okay.
I'm going with a 2-1 win for Brentford.
I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
You guys are smoking something.
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I believe in Brentford.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Six wins in 7 matches is not a fluke.
It's okay. We'll see what happens. That's about it on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being there with us. We're going to try and make this as regular as possible. Every now and then, like we pointed out a while back, we're going to have guests join us every now and then. So keep your fingers, crossed and just continue to subscribe. Tell people, tell one person, let the person tell another person. Leave your comments. Tell us what you'd love to see. Tell us what we're doing right or wrong. Just let us know what we're doing here, and we'll absolutely appreciate it. But subscribe, click on that bell so that you get notifications every time we post something. From the guys, Eddie?
Yes, so what an absolutely beautiful show. I've actually enjoyed today. So much fun. Thank you guys. And thank you to all our fans, subscribers. You know what to do. Smash that like button. Share this with all your friends. Let them know about Game On. And we definitely will be coming back with a brand new show very, very shortly, one that you will love. So thank you very much for tuning to the show. And thank you for always supporting us. So we'll see you soon.
And Festus?
Yeah, I have actually enjoyed every bit of today's show. I had a wonderful time discussing football with my great friends. And like we have pointed out, this is coming across to you from 3 different continents: the continent of the great motherland, Africa, the continent of Europe, from London, Eddie, and I'm here in Maryland, US. And we are discussing football at the comfort of our homes and enjoying ourselves. So it's been wonderful. And we thank you, our fans, We want you to subscribe, and we want you to always send us your comments and let us know what we're doing good and how we can improve to serve you better. Thank you and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
All right, from all of us, it's bye-bye. Join us again very soon. Very soon, in a matter of days, we'll be back here. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.